they think. Intelligence, expertise.
What other doors could they close?
Hey, how much am I willing to give up and commitment and are not committed to the struggle? Acquiescing to the struggle, they're committed.
Careful who you leave toeless.
Related. Guess what? We only make up 13% of this country's population. But our young black men make up 51% of the prison population. What's different between you and them? Nothing. They set you up for the okey doke and you thought it was cool and you took it. You think everything is about fun. I sit up and I watch this. This is what I deal with all the time. While y'all are out on your phones playing games, they have their kids at gun ranges. Preparing. They see you as the enemy and they're prepared to engage you in every way. While they're training tactically for anything that happens, we're driving by spraying our own community and hitting nothing but innocent children. They're preparing to hit what they shoot at. Academically, we get whatever is left over. You have access to the internet. You have access to information in the world you didn't have access to. Well, we didn't have access to growing up. We had to get up and actually go to the library. We had to get up and actually go down to the courthouse and pull up court documents. All that stuff is available now around. Anything that you want to know about yourself, about your history, about this country, about Africa, about why you should think highly of yourself and be prepared to do more than what you're doing, it's out there. But you rather play everything. Everything is about the game. There's nothing wrong with being a young boy and having fun, but you better have your head on straight because there's no more of a marked person in this world than a young black man. You're marked. You're set up to fail. You're set up to be took out. There's a war being waged against you right now, and you think it's a joke. We're not here because we felt y'all need to play basketball. We understand that basketball is fun thing. I think I see some guys out here. We love to play. We do what we do, whatever we do. We understand that's the part thing. We want to, sit up and just talk all night long. That's not why we're here. But at the same point in time, everybody here is making a sacrifice. Everybody here is here because we care. Nobody is being paid to be here tonight. Nobody. They're here because they want to make a difference. Because each one of these people, I heard a couple people talk about owning businesses. I heard a couple of people talking about doing their own thing. That's one of the greatest responsibilities of a black man. Business ownership. Not getting a job. And I'm not down on anybody that's got a job. What I'm saying is the mindset has to be ownership. Why? Because you cannot compete in this capitalist world without owning something. The very definition of capitalism is to own resources, own property, own business, and then use other people's labor to enrich yourself. And if you're not working to fulfill your own dreams, if you're not grinding to fulfill your own dreams, if you're not busting your butt to fulfill your own dreams, you're busting your butt to fulfill someone else. That's the only two places in this world. You either chase your vision or you're helping somebody to fulfill theirs. The only difference between you and them is they decided to get out and make it happen. They weren't afraid to fail. They got out there, and I'm going to tell you, the only way you succeed is through failure. The whole line about, I don't fail, no. You fail to succeed. The only way that you succeed is by failure. If you're afraid to fail, you will never succeed. Michael Jordan, arguably the greatest player that's ever played basketball.
You gotta do
Fill up your brain.
fill up your brain with what? With knowledge. What kind of knowledge? What was that? Math. You said
Common
math?
sense.
All type of knowledge like science, mathematics, things like that?
Common sense.
You said
Math.
math?
Get off the streets, go to college, go to high school, get education.
But you know what? Y'all laughing, but that's serious though. I understand we want to laugh, have a good time, but it's truth in what he's saying. It's It's changing our whole direction. It's self-love, dealing with each other on that kind of level. Because we keep going like we're going extinct people. You know what I mean when I say that? We're not going to be here no more. We in prisons, we killing each other to get stripes in the hood because we've been taught to be this way. So we're here to let you know that it's been a lie this whole time. Don't fall for the lie. I wish I was 8, 9, 10, 15 years old and knew everything that I know now. It's been a whole different course. But now that I do know, it's time for y'all to learn that too and keep it going. Who in here wants to have their own business? Wow, look at that. Look at that. All of y'all. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Something that's part of your intellect, it's part of your obtained knowledge. In other words, you talk with a different vernacular than white children. They came up in a different culture. How you talk and how they talk is totally different, but the test is based on how they talk. So guess what? They're going to go higher. But that's not intelligence. That's not their intelligence, that's what they've learned. But that's what they use to always put out these studies to say that white students test 15 to 20 points higher on IQ tests on average. That's because y'all full of bull. When you put us down, we're highly creative. Think of some of the things we figure out how to get in the hood with no money. We're very creative. We're very innovative. Think of, if you go back, just do a research. When you get off, do an internet research on all things invented and created by blacks. Find out half the things that they're taking credit for, we did. We are not dumb. We're not stupid. We need to stop believing it. There's a guy who wrote a book called Brainwashed named Tom Burrell. He spent 30-something years in the marketing and advertising world. He started his own company, Black Guy. And what he learned is how they're using propaganda channels. Another good book on propaganda is a book called Propaganda by Edward Bernays, who is actually the guy who created the campaign that got white women smoking. They weren't smoking before this campaign, but he told them it was cool, it was fly, it was sexy. And did that through the radio and the TV. That is how powerful this is. Half the things that people are doing that they think this is what I love to do and want to do, no, that's what you've been told you love to do and want to do. If you don't know who you are, if you don't develop a positive self-image of who you are, yourself, you will find yourself being led by what others believe about you or want you to believe about yourself. And so now we get back into that. So one way that you manage that is manage what you intake. The only way that you stop the propaganda machine, the only way that you stop it is to monitor what you allow to come into your gates, your eyes and your ears. If you allow anything to come in, anything has an impact. If everything you see is about clapping, popping, whatever the latest term for shooting a gun is this week. Because it's, I remember it used to be wedding. It's been clapping, popping a cap, banging, whatever it is that tells you that's what we're supposed to be doing with each other. Put that crap down, because that's purposely been put there to get us to kill one another. Because see, every time a black man takes the life of another black man, that's 2 black men that they don't have to worry about. The one that's dead and the one that's in prison. And they have found a way to continue slavery in prison. This is how. When slavery ended in 1865, they started a process of incarcerating, putting in prison, black men at a high rate. And then they started a program called convict leasing. In other words, that's what businesses came to the state and say, I will pay you $50 per man per day for them to come out and work on my railroad, for them to come out and dig my ditch, for them to come out and do it. That's why you see those old movies, those dudes on there, they're doing the railroad. Those are prisoners that private companies paid for to come out there and do work. It's called convict leasing back then. Well, it kept on going. It went on through what was called Jim Crow laws. The Jim Crow laws were laws that were put in place to make sure that the black men who had all the skills, because they were the slaves, they built the houses, they plowed the fields, they did it. They were the ones with the skills, so they would be the ones that would have been hired for the jobs. But they put in laws to make it very difficult to hire blacks over whites. And that started Jim Crow. This also started when you saw the Ku Klux Klan come in, and they started lynching brothers because they were intimidated and scared. And so black men was an issue with them. And so every chance they get, they were lynching. Went through that process, and then we got to mass incarceration in the late 70s, early 80s. Well, they started again, but this time, instead of convict policing, the businessman got even more
savvy.
Business savvy. He said, I'm not just gonna hire these cats from the prison. I'm gonna go out and build prisons, and then I'm gonna charge the state for them to house their prisoners. So now I'm getting paid to put them in the prison, then I'm using their labor for private businesses. So I'm profiting multiple ways off of this, and we only make up 13% of the population in this country. That means girls, boys, men, children, but our men make up 40% of the population in prison. We have the majority population in prison. That's not by accident. There are laws in place that make that happen now.
Intelligence, expertise.
What other doors could they close?
Like, how much am I willing to give up and commitment, and are not committed to the struggle, acquiescing to the struggle, they're committed